Hi, everyone here and around the world, even in Antarctica at the South Pole. Antarctica is a big continent, roughly 1.5 times the size of the United States. Antarctica is also one of the most mysterious icy masses on this Earth, especially because human tourists are not welcome to explore Antarctica just anywhere they want to go. You might say that Antarctica is closed off to the general public, and the controllers are scientists and military. For geographic orientation, let's start at the center red circle at the South Pole between East Antarctica and West Antarctica, and then go about 850 nautical miles to the Ross Ice Shelf at the Ross Sea to reach the United States McMurdo Station. McMurdo is the red circle on the Ross Sea bordered by the Transantarctic Mountains. McMurdo Station was activated after World War II on February 16, 1956, as part of the United States Operation Deepfreeze. That was a code name for a series of joint military missions by the U.S. Armed Forces to resupply and support U.S. operations there, including the National Science Foundation's research stations in Antarctica. Today, in 2024, the United States Antarctic Program, also known as USAP or USAP Portal, is a branch of the National Science Foundation capable of sustaining 1,500 residents in Antarctica, financially supported by the aerospace corporation Lockheed Martin. According to the Pentagon, USAP airspace, quote, requires close coordination between the U.S. Department of Defense and the National Science Foundation, close quote. A week ago, on November 26, 2024, I received this email from an Earthfiles viewer with the subject line, quote, Google Earth covers up Ross Ice Shelf. I was re-watching your documentary about the Antarctic structures according to Spartan 1. He mentioned that it was near the Ross Ice Shelf. So I decided to look that up on Google Earth, and attached is the white rectangle that appears to be covering up a strip of Ross Ice Shelf. It's obvious they are pasting over that white area. All the best. And the viewer means using phony images of snow and ice to keep covering up whatever is under the white patch that our government wants to keep secret. So I called retired United States Navy Captain Mark Wood, who has helped me on my Dark Pyramid investigations in Alaska. Captain Wood added yellow titles and outlined in red the mysterious white patch, so he could track the pattern back in time to when the white patch first appeared and evolved in Google Earth. From the South Pole to the white patch is 850 nautical miles. From the USA McMurdo Station to the white patch is about 195 miles. Pasting and airbrushing are deliberate manipulations and imply there is something to be covered up by the white patch when Antarctic summers thaw and melt ice, snow, and soil, like this recent November 2024 aerial image of McMurdo Station, where Antarctica's December summertime warmer temperatures melt snow on large sections of dark soil beneath thousands of cracked ice pieces. After Captain Mark Wood went back in time on Google Earth to December 2000, 24 years ago, he said, quote, wider area of hidden images clearly showing between pasted images being used to cover up snow and ice-free images. Mark superimposed his red outline of the white patch northwest and northeast. He was surprised to see strips of brown soils and green vegetation from that warmer December 2000 Antarctic summer. But why were those green and brown strips on the white patch 24 years ago and since? Captain Mark Wood hypothesizes that there has been deliberate efforts to cover up something where white snow and ice images have been used repeatedly to cover up sensitive ground areas. Mark thinks there has always been a seam line between pages of cover-up photos that aren't carefully covered up. So the vertical thin strips of forest, water, clouds, and other summer growth become stretched and separated enough along the seam line to expose actual thin strips, photos of warmer summer thawing of ground surfaces. The red lines show where the white patch was used to cover up in November of 2024. Here now from Florida is retired U.S. Navy Captain Mark Wood, who is also a professional engineer with a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering and a master's degree in ocean engineering. He has also flown almost 3,000 hours as a tactical coordinator and mission commander in P-3 anti-submarine warfare.
That hit me right off the bat is that this is supposed to be November 2024 images, and it looks like the entire continent is covered in snow and ice, when in fact in the southern hemisphere, November is the last month of spring. And we're in December, which is the first month in summer, and there are places in Antarctica that should have no snow or no ice, and yet everything is covered. And I think that somehow they make people think that Antarctica is always covered in snow and ice. They can put large patches over areas that they don't want people to see, and people just think, oh, it's Antarctica. It's got snow and ice, and don't worry about it. But we know better.
And you went in search from 2024 all the way back as far as 1984.
That's correct.
Explain what it was you saw between 1984 and 2024.
Well, I zoomed into the area of the white patch to verify its location. And as I mentioned, it's approximately 195 miles to the east of McMurdo Station. It's up on the coast, and because as I look at older Antarctic images, we will lose this white patch. So what I did is I outlined it in red. So even though when we go back to 2022 or 2020 or 1984, we will lose this white patch that only exists in the 2024 image, but the red lines that I have put in there will show us exactly where this patch is. And what is interesting is we can see above the McMurdo Station area that there are some broken floating ice right on the coastline, which tells me that it's warmer than during the winter months, so things begin to free up.
Yeah, it looks like an explosion of ice all over the place, like from melt.
The patches that have been put in to cover Antarctica have a gap between them. They didn't overlap. And what we're looking at is underneath these white patches that we're seeing that show snow and ice everywhere in December, the first month of summer. So we then go back from 2016 and look at 2006. Lo and behold, we see that there is something coming through where this patch normally would be, because we can see where the red lines are. And it appears to be between a large area of white to the right and a large area of white to the left, which are the patches that have been put there to keep us from seeing something. And this goes back all the way to 2006. So if we then look at the next image, this is in the year 2000, and we can see what is actually being seen by the satellites that hasn't been patched over with clouds or ice or snow. We can see Antarctica. We can see green grass or plants. We can see brown for Earth. We can see clouds And the patches that they have put in have completely covered that up. That's what Antarctica looks like in the summer in Antarctica. And yet we can't see that because over the years, over 24 years, they have been covering it up with these patches.
Mark, what do you think they are covering up?
I think that based on history, the fact that we have maps and charts like the Perry Reese map from the 1500s that actually show a coastline that matches the Antarctic coastline when Antarctica was not discovered until, I think, early 1800s. Well, if it had a map in 1500 that he found in the archives someplace, then somebody must have been to Antarctica back 900 years ago. And it wouldn't surprise me at all that what we are being sort of kept hidden is some type of documentation or buildings, structures from some civilization that we don't know who they are, where they came from, or why they settled in Antarctica, outside of the fact that we know that over years past that Antarctica had a temperate climate. They've got fossils of animals. They've got fossils of ferns, of trees. And for some reason, the powers that be don't want us to know about that.
Because in my work, I have had people who have worked for intel agencies who have told me Antarctica is a base of extraterrestrials and has been for eons. Then that raises an even more provocative question. Could some of the cover-up be related to extraterrestrials not wanting humans to find them in Antarctica?
I think that is a perfectly valid assumption. We know that during the CIA remote viewing program, that one of the remote viewers viewed what he believed was an alien base in Mount Hayes in Alaska.
Right.
And not only was it an alien base, but there were humans working with the aliens. And we know from talking to Doug Mutchler.
Yes, Dark Pyramids.
Yeah, and the Dark Pyramid story, that when he was confronted while he was in Washington, D.C., trying to do some research, one of the gentlemen that stopped him from getting documents, look for the Dark Pyramid, said they don't want us bothering them anymore.
Meaning the ETs.
Yeah, I think other thing that is unbelievable is you can't go to Antarctica, period. There are cruise ships that may go to the coast area some places so you can watch penguins, but the entire continent is basically closed off. The only people that are allowed to go there are scientists who are doing research. And if you decided that you were going to fly in with your own plane, you would be met with not very friendly people because you're not allowed to go there. And why is that? Why is a whole continent on this planet completely closed off to population?
In my UFO and bloodless, trackless animal mutilation investigation since 1979, I have had people from intelligence agencies tell me, quote, Antarctica has a deep underground base for extraterrestrials that have been there for eons, close quote. And remember, 8 years ago when this tweet went viral on December 7th, 2016, it was from retired astronaut Buzz Aldrin. He was 86 years old and being evacuated for medical concerns, it was said, after a mysterious trip to the South Pole. Under Buzz Aldrin's upper left photo is his tweet, quote, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself," close quote. Allegedly, it is said that he deleted this tweet. And in my large 515-page book, Glimpses of Other Realities, one of the things that provoked me in doing some of the research is back when that tweet from Buzz Aldrin I saw on a news program, and later realized he has never explained that tweet. And so part of going into this 515-page book, Glimpses of Other Realities, Volume 2, High Strangeness, I was provoked to get as deep as I could in some of these subjects, and that there are several in Glimpses Volume 2, instances where people who have either been intelligence analysts or military that have reached out to me confidentially with information about ETs based on Earth for eons has been a theme. And one of the chapters is entitled Military Voices. Another chapter is entitled Light Beams, Discs, and Animal Deaths. And both of those involved people who have worked officially, but they sought me out to at least help guide me. And now in this Christmas holiday of 2024, with the world so uncertain in so many directions, I want you to know something that is great, that is bringing me great joy, and that is that my latest updated printings of my 2-volume book, Glimpses of Other Realities, is now going to be available all of the time at Amazon.com. And we have a special link on the screen, earthfiles.com/glimpses2 is on the right, Glimpses 1 is on the left. And for Glimpses 2, you can go to the earthfiles.com/glimpses2, which is Volume 2, High Strangeness, that I recommend out of my books and documentaries. If you want to get into some of the deepest facets of everything that I know are related to, finally, we are going, I think, to finally have interface with other intelligences in the universe. And I have a foreword in Glimpses Volume 2 by the brilliant writer Colin Wilson. And he began, quote, to me, "As I read Glimpses of Other Realities, Volume 2, High Strangeness, I was in a permanent state of excitement. It was all so incredible and true." And that is how I have felt for the last 45 years, from the very first investigation in northern Colorado of bloodless, trackless animal mutilations to right now, tonight, December 4th, 2024, on a planet with what seems like an uncertain future. And this is also the time where the crossroads of where humans are going is going to cross, I think, and I hope and pray successfully, with other intelligences, and that all of you everywhere deserve to know that fundamental fact. Homo sapien is not alone in this universe, and it's way past time for us all to be told the truth and be introduced to those of an alien mind that also look at us and see us as intelligent creatures that should be given a chance to evolve. And on that note, happy holidays. I'm glad we got this one take for those of you who got the stuttering one at the beginning, whatever the audio problem, that we persisted, never give up. Happy holidays and happy 2025. Let's all concentrate on it being a better year than we thought it could ever be. Love you guys.
Turn on closed captions for YouTube videos by clicking the white CC button on the lower right. The default language for Linda's videos is English. If you would like to see the captions in another language, click on the white Settings button next to the CC button. Select Subtitles CC, and then select Auto Translate. Select a language, and the captions will now appear in that language.
Sort of gone through, and they will hold their heads. I never had a cat do that before. And they'll pull against the comb, helping me get out snarls. And I think it's the best they've ever been.